Hi, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. Really happy to be back with you today. I missed yesterday. I just got really busy and time went by. But I'm here again and we're going to continue reading more about the stories of Noah out of our book, Bible Stories. So this is going to be Story 6 about Noah, beginning again. That could be a long time ago, somebody telling stories to some children. Kind of like I'm telling stories now. Beginning again. Now came the moment which everybody and everything on the ark had been waiting for a long, long time. The opening of the great door that God had closed himself. No doubt Noah and his 3 sons tried to roll it back. At last it creaked open, as if moved by the same mighty hand that had closed it. How glad everybody must have been to step outside and breathe the fresh, sweet air again. Noah was so thankful for the way God had saved him and his family from the flood that the very first thing he did when he went ashore was to build an altar and offer a sacrifice upon it of one of every clean beast and of every clean fowl. So, at least that's how many we think. Could have been more, I guess. And that was a real sacrifice. Just then, when the only animals in the whole wide world were those that Noah had brought with him on the ark. So to sacrifice one of those meant there would not be as many anymore. God was so pleased that Noah had remembered to say thank you for his deliverance that he said, I will not again curse the earth any more. While the earth remains, there'll be seed time and harvest. That means it's time to plant your garden and time to get everything that grew in your garden. And there'll be cold and heat and summer and winter and day and night. All of those things will go on forever. Then, at God's command, all the other birds and beasts were released. Remember, beast means animals. What a sight that must have been. What a whirling of wings as great eagles and storks, herons and flamingos leaped into the air and flew out to freedom. With robins and sparrows, thrushes, hummingbirds fluttering and hopping along behind them. How the nightingale must have trilled her song, and the blackbird had squawked, and the mockingbird must have sung everybody's song at once in the moment of glad liberation. Liberation means they were free out of that ark again. Lions and tigers, buffaloes and hippos and elephants and giraffes, sheep and goats, dogs and cats, they all hurried out the great doorway, jostling each other as they bound down the ramp in their eagerness to get out into the open again. And what a noise they must have made as each one sounded forth his joy. The lions roaring, the elephants trumpeting, the horses neighing, the cattle lowing, the donkeys braying, yee-haw, and all the little dogs barking their very loudest. Many of the animals disappeared at once, racing down the mountainside till they were out of sight. Others stayed around, liking human companionship, And Noah may have well wondered what on earth he was going to do with all these animals if they continued to stay near the ark. But 2 by 2 and group by group, they began to move away, wandering to the north and east and south and west. They were seeking food and shelter. At last, only some of the cattle, sheep, goats, and of course the little dogs and cats were left. Meanwhile, Noah and his family were looking around at the wild-looking place to which the ark had been brought. And see, here's a picture of what it might have looked like when Noah was offering the sacrifice, thanking God for their deliverance. As they were looking around, such a sad sight that met their gaze. Everywhere, things were wrecked and ruined, caused by the raging waters. Great trees lay uprooted. Lovely hills had been swept clean of the soil, leaving nothing but bare rocks. Mountains had become scarred and jagged. Once fruitful plains were now deserts. Not a single human dwelling, that's where people live, was seen anywhere. Of all the beautiful homes that they could remember, not a single trace remained. All had been smashed into little pieces by the towering tidal waves that had swept over everything when the flood began. It was enough to break their hearts. As they stood there, viewing the desolate scene, they felt the earth shake under them, for there must have been many a small quake as the earth settled back after the eruptions when all the fountains of the deep were broken up to let out that water. No doubt they felt afraid and lonely on that shuddering mountainside. They may have wondered what terrible thing could happen next. Then, all of a sudden, Noah looked up, and there in the sky, he saw something he had never seen before, as though it was trying to encircle the wrecked earth with arms of love. A glorious, glowing arch of many colors. Hardly daring to breathe, they all stood staring at it, and they couldn't even talk. They were so amazed. What was it? What could it be? They were wondering, and there they could see it. As they watched in wonderment, God drew near and said, I do set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a token of the covenant, that means a deal, between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature. And the waters shall no more become a great flood to destroy everything on earth. It was God's way of saying, I have not forgotten you, and I will never forget you, or my promise to you. When you see the rainbow, and I see the rainbow, we will remember each other. Only a God of love could have thought of speaking to his children in such a way, in such a time. Having lost everything they had, their money, their homes, their friends, everything except for their own lives and what they had brought on the ark with them, these poor homeless pilgrims surely needed a message of comfort and hope such as this. But now their hearts cheered, their courage renewed. They told themselves again that all would be well at last. How good to know that God was still with them, that God still loved them. And so, hand in hand with him, they went forth through the shining arch above them to build a new world with him. So, that's the end of that chapter. I think it was really wonderful that they were able to get out of that ark. It must have been getting maybe a little smelly in there from all the animals. You know, I know that in the chicken house, between times that I clean it, it can get pretty stinky because they use it as their bathroom. So when it rains, I want you to look up in the sky and see if you can see a rainbow. And if you do, that will be the reminder to you about Noah and how God saved him and how God said he would never flood the whole earth again. Maybe there'd be some small areas where there were floods, but never the whole earth. And that was what he said, because he loved the people. And he loved the animals. He loves you. And I love you too. So this is Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and yours when you're in your house, when you're out of your house, in the day and the night, and whatever you do, keep dreaming. Keep a story in your heart. Bye-bye.